Hey, Jagger, I don't know if you saw, but Rachel Maddow kicked off the week last night with yet another tremendous rundown of the uptick in protests this time. We're seeing them happening coast to coast, from Tesla dealerships, where defiance is on full display, to town halls where accountability tops the agenda. This is all bad news for co-presidents Musk and Trump, but it is also something that got me thinking. As you're about to see, Rachel, she's so great at uncovering the insidious truths about Trump and his team of train wrecks. But when she has good news to report, well, that's, I think, when Rachel really shines. Now, after watching this, given the dark mood hovering over the country, why, you might just shine a little bit too. So let's not waste any time. Let's watch Rachel get giddy with it last night as a wave of resistance and protests sweeps across the nation.
President Trump and his attorney general and Republicans of all stripes have spent the past couple of weeks trying to intimidate Americans out of specifically protesting against the car company owned by the president's top campaign donor. The American people this weekend showed in very large numbers that they are not going to be dissuaded from peaceful, legal, nonviolent protest for or against anything they want. Because we don't need to clear that with the government. Because we are Americans, and it is our right to peacefully protest if we want to. Look at this. This is Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Look at the size of the protest here. This is just a passerby filming this from his own car as he drove past, and he's driving like at speed, right? But the protest is so big, it goes on for so long, it ends up being kind of a long video in order to try to capture the numbers of people who are out just at this one Tesla dealership in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The organizers of that protest in Cherry Hill say they think there were 600 or 700 people out at this one protest at this one Tesla dealership just this weekend. Look, it's still going. There were Tesla dealership protests this weekend in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and in Arlington, Virginia, and in Bartlett, Tennessee, and in Franklin, Tennessee, and in Boston, Massachusetts, and in New York. New York City has a Tesla dealership. There's a very large protest at the Tesla dealership in New York City this weekend. In Chesterfield, Missouri, there was a protest at the Tesla dealership. In Chicago, Illinois. In Rockville, Maryland. In Pasadena, California. There was a big one in Pasadena, California this weekend. There has been most weekends in recent weeks in Pasadena. In Washington, D.C., their now recurring protest at their Tesla dealership regularly has a DJ. And at the Washington, D.C. Tesla dealership, people are dancing because they are billing this as the Tesla Takedown Dance Party weekly in Washington. At the Tesla protest this weekend in Austin, Texas, this sign stuck with me. Porsche fast, Ferrari faster, Tesla, well, you can read it. I never thought that fastest was an imperfect homophone for fascist, but I guess it is, and now I can't stop thinking about it. This weekend in Kalamazoo, Michigan, people turned out for a hands off our Social Security protest. In Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and in Virginia Beach, Virginia, people turned out to protest against Trump and Musk and the cuts to the federal government. Same thing in Westwood, California, where Congresswoman Maxine Waters turned out in support, as she has for many of the protests that have happened in her district. In terms of town halls with members of Congress, or without them, when people turned out anyway, even though their member of Congress wouldn't come, there's been almost too many of them happening right now to sum them all up. And they're starting to get more attention in the media, and so you may have seen some of the coverage of these elsewhere. I will just tell you, as a person who has been watching this stuff pretty closely for pretty much 8 weeks now, my impression of what's going on with the town halls in particular is that, number one, we're seeing the number of these types of events just explode, including in places you would not necessarily expect to see them. These are definitely not like a blue state liberal area phenomenon. They are that, but they are also everywhere else in the country. You're also, number two, seeing the numbers of people turning out for these things just go through the roof. You're seeing that when Democrats are going to Republican districts to hold town halls where the Republicans won't do it. You're seeing it where Democrats are holding their own town halls, and you are seeing it where they can't get a member of Congress to come to the town hall at all, but Americans just show up Americans are showing up all over in big and increasing numbers. We are starting to see these numbers, both of events and of bodies, and the number of people turning out at individual events, I think, tip over into something that's qualitatively different than what we had previously seen. I'll show you just a little bit of what I mean just from this weekend. Mishawaka, Indiana, right? Not a place we've ever covered here on this show before, but look, hundreds of people turned out to protest against their Republican Congressman Rudy Yakim. I think that's how you say his name. He's refusing to meet with them. And so here in Indiana are his constituents. Ogden, Utah, hundreds of people protesting against their Republican Congressman Blake Moore, demanding that Republican Congressman Blake Moore stand up to Trump. Look at this event, Columbus, Ohio. Jen Psaki had Sherrod Brown on her show tonight talking about organizing in Columbus. Look at this in Columbus, a huge event demanding that Republican Ohio Senators Bernie Moreno and John Husted meet with their constituents, that they find it within themselves to stand up to Trump. Another huge event in Lexington, Kentucky. Look at this, demanding that Republican Congressman Andy Barr stand up to Trump, or at least show up and talk to his constituents about why he won't. In Lewiston, Idaho, and in Moscow, Idaho, two big empty chair town halls to which Republican Congressman Russ Fulcher would not show up to face his Idaho constituents. Nearly 1,000 people turned out in Billings, Montana, demanding to meet with their Republican senators and Congressman Troy Downing. In Cape Fear, North Carolina, they had a more than full house at a huge event for Senator Thom Tillis. 150 people turned away at the door. Senator Thom Tillis did not show up to meet his constituents. They put a comedian on stage wearing a giant foam core cutout of Tillis's face and the face of Republican David Browser, their Republican congressman in Cape Fear, who also did not show up. Hey, you guys, this is what your constituents are doing without you when you don't show up for constituent events. In Waterloo, Iowa, a packed house full of Republican Congresswoman Ashley Hinson's constituents. The Congresswoman herself not even answering questions from some local media about why she won't show up or talk with people in her district. Same thing with Republican Congresswoman Mary Miller, a no-show in rural Jacksonville, Illinois, where her constituents, according to local news reports of this event, they really, really want to talk with her about Medicaid cuts, which they think will be absolutely devastating in her district. But she's a no-show. Congressman Neil Dunn is a Florida Republican. He represents a district in Tallahassee. Veterans in his Florida district are demanding that he at least look them in the eye when he doesn't stand up to what Trump is doing and what he's allowing to happen. Watch this local coverage.
American Legion Hall at one point standing room only.
Today, I think 500 people said loud and clear, we don't want drastic cuts to federal programs. We don't want a unilateral king-like president, frankly.
An invitation extended to Congressman Neil Dunn left unclaimed. Neighbors left disappointed as they say they wanted the representative to hear their long list of concerns, which include the Department of Government Efficiency's plans to cut 83,000 jobs from the Department of Veteran Affairs.
I am extremely disappointed in the way things are going, and I don't look for any easy time ahead for the country.
13,000 veterans in Leon County, hundreds of them doing different things to get Dunn's attention, including a silent protest bright and early outside City Hall, where the congressman himself hosted a U.S. Military Service Academy Day.
We're introducing the high school students and actually some middle school students to a program that my office sponsors that prepares them to be better candidates for the military academies.
All of us here that we're serving are using the VA in one way or another. So the dichotomy of him wanting to sign people up at the same time as throwing the rest of us away is repugnant to me.
Representative Dunn and his team declined to comment on either of Saturday's movements.
We're brothers and sisters, and we honor one another. Sorry.
A sensitive subject for many local veterans who fear the idea of reduced benefits, support, and honor, not only for themselves, but for future veterans as well.
Thank you for serving. You know, if you decide to join at this point, but it is certainly within the realm of possibilities of someone say, I can't see joining if this is what's going to be behind me.
Despite the VA secretary's promise that benefits will not be affected by job cuts, neighbors tell me they still disagree and feel threatened by recent actions from the White House.
What are we going to do?
And they're determined to use the power of community to make their voices heard.
To step forward and save our democracy. Save our democracy. We can do it.
That's from the ABC affiliate WTXL in Tallahassee, Florida. This is from San Diego, California.
Town hall was standing room only, and it was called an empty chair town hall because attendees say Representative Issa refuses to engage with his constituents. Here you can see every seat filled in a venue that seats more than 300 people.
To see all these people, you know, I just felt, I was overwhelmed. I just feel so good about coming here.
Tonight we met 93-year-old Betty Reeves. This town hall was organized to give people like her a chance to share their concerns about Representative Issa and the Trump administration. The town hall was put on by a group called Indivisible.
Yeah, you see those good and decent folks gathering coast to coast to defend the democracy that they cherish. It makes you feel great. And then you see these people gathering in West Palm Beach at the Pink House. And it makes you feel what? Please like, comment, and share.